Welcome to the Cozy Library Office today with your Clean Reads book buddy. I've got quite the stack of what I read in September to review for you. The Bridge to Belle Island by Julie Clausen. Cozy mystery vibes. Our main character is accused of a crime that happened in London, yet supposedly she hasn't left Belle Island in a decade. A London lawyer agrees to go and investigate this woman. Everything moved pretty quickly, so that was really good. I thought I had the culprit figured out. The storyline had me guessing. It was so much fun trying to figure out the culprit. So I highly recommend this book. I gave it 4 stars. Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I'll tell you what helped the most for me to enjoy this book, to listen to the audiobook while you look at the physical book. And I'll go into more of this on a dedicated video about how to get into classic literature and really enjoy it. It added such another dimension, especially the characters. But I will link below the narrator that I listen to. I'm not going to get into a whole lot about the plot, but I will say where she gets to this Gothic abbey, I wish there had been more of that. I felt like it kind of ended it a little quicker than I wanted to. It's not really that long, so highly recommend. I did really like it. I gave it 4 stars because it was so engaging with the audiobook. The Secret Keeper by Beverly Lewis. Our main character is living in the modern world where her family had gone and stayed on their vacation close to where the Amish are. Jeannie had met a friend there named Marnie who was an Amish girl. Jeannie and Marnie exchanged letters for years. Approaching Jeannie's 25th birthday, she is moving to Amish country and leave her modern world behind. All in all, I recommend this book. I gave it 3-star rating because it got a little slow at times and there was a lot of people history to keep up with. Secret of Pembroke Park, also by Julie Clausen. I suppose it takes a lot of pages to flesh out all the twists and turns and dysfunctions in this story. This is set in 1817 England, and they're doing what families did in London society. An anonymous benefactor requests that the family come and live in this massive country manor. It has been empty for 18 years. When they get there, spooky place. There's a rumor that there's treasure hidden within. And then who is sending Abigail these anonymous letters? I was a little sad that it was ending because I was so involved in all of this. 4 stars. The House on Lookout Mountain by Joanne Brown. It is part of the Patchwork Mystery series. Sarah has been asked by her friend to come up to this home that he's bought as a real estate investment. He invited antique experts, history buffs, to try to solve the mystery of why all of the antiques are still there. A lot of World War II clues, things to do with the Nazis, German families, and Amish and quilts. Were they spies? Whose side were they on? Were they double agents? It's very hard to find a good mystery that doesn't revolve around gruesome crimes and all that, if you know what I mean. I'm giving it 3 stars. Wishtris by Nadine Brandes, maybe? I went to the library to pick up my haul. Last video, if you saw that. This was just sitting there on the shelf, all pretty. I'm sure it's a great book. I'm not into fantasy. I just didn't get into it. Pieces from the Past by Elizabeth Penny from the Antique Shop Mysteries series. And this follows Maggie Watson as the main character in the charming town of Somerset Harbor. And I jumped right in. But once I got into the story, I said, let me research because I couldn't find anything on the inside of these books about this series. Figured out that this was number 4, this one's number 7. And there are, I can't remember now how many. I am putting a halt to these 2 books until I can get number 1 and read it. The Map in the Attic by Jolyn Sharp. I really wanted to like this book and I wanted to get into it. But even after getting to chapter 5, it's okay, but it was a little slow. I couldn't stay involved. So DNF pile. The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. This was written in 1908. This is a classic children's literature. I didn't even consider that I wouldn't like it. It's basically about a mole, a water rat, a badger, and a toad. It was just boring. It was so boring and wordy. America's Forgotten Colonial History. Now, before you click away, what got my attention with this author in the first place, saying that as Americans, we're taught this very brief narrative about how our nation started. And that's it. And he says that what we really need to understand is looking back to England a little bit farther and seeing what was really going on. Chapter 1 was a little bit textbooky, but then it got into monarchs in just a couple sentences about each one and why they did what they did. He has it so simple. You'll just be like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to leave it on my desk to remind me. I'm going to just read a chapter as I can, and I think you can enjoy it too if you care whatsoever about those things. How America's Political Parties Change and How They Don't by Michael Barone. Again, I just picked this up at the library for a current event. It's not very current, and it is very textbooky, so I took a little peruse through and skim through, and it really is a history of the political parties in the United States. It's not biased in any way, and I skimmed through it and did my due diligence. The Courage to Be Free by Ron DeSantis. This is a first-person account written by Ron DeSantis himself. Published in February 2023. I enjoyed the initial chapters, how he was raised, what his home life was like, playing baseball, and he did serve in the military, where his political views came from, and how he got to where he's at right now. Very interesting. Now, table of contents broke it down into the different topics that he gets into this blueprint. It's very easy to jump around if you want to read some and not the others. The Mistletoe Countess by Pepper Basham. This book was so good. What a wild adventure. Highly romantic tale. Not at all what I expected, especially from the cover. But just when I thought I knew where the story was going, another twist would show up. Grace, our main character, stepping in for her eldest sister to marry a lord. Grace was sweet, naive. She made me laugh so much, though. It's just a delightful story. Oh, and I gave it 5 stars. Fun with Oceans and Seas. If you have any interest with the oceans and what's in it, then you'll want to check this out. It would be a wonderful gift for any young person that you know that's interested, because it has over 100 activities inside. Beautiful, colorful illustrations. It's just gorgeous. This is my honest opinion. I hope this was helpful. I will include all relevant links in the description below, including my Goodreads account where I review these in even more detail. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time.